If you are a real estate agent in the Texas market and want to learn more about the different brokerage models out there and thinking about having a change, this video is for you. I am 6 months into switching to eXp Realty, and I want to give you the honest truth about how my experience has been so far. In this video, I'm going to discuss why I switched in the first place, how I feel about that decision now, what's been working, what hasn't been working, and if I have any regrets. Hi, my name is Brigid Schlegel. I am an Austin, Texas real estate agent with eXp and the Wolfpack Group, and this is my second channel where I focus on helping real estate agents build their long-term legacy, not just their production volume. And if you are at all curious about eXp or how the Wolfpack operates locally here in Austin, Texas, you can always book a private one-on-one call with me to talk about it. Absolutely no pressure at all. I'm always looking to collaborate with other agents, whether or not you are an eXp agent, and I'm happy to answer all of your questions with complete transparency. So why did I switch to eXp? There's really two reasons. First off, the Wolfpack. I really wanted to be surrounded with high-performing agents, but also still maintain my solo agent status. What I discovered here in Austin, Texas is that the Wolfpack Group really fits that description. It's actually a group that's completely international, but here in Austin, and especially just Central Texas, there's a lot of Wolfpack members, which gives it a sense of being a part of a team without having to pay any additional commission to them. There's a lot of additional trainings, get-togethers on a monthly basis, and weekly Zoom meetings where you can learn and join from some of the top agents. Second, the other main reason I switched to eXp is entirely just that the numbers made sense. Once I started analyzing and comparing eXp's business model to that of Keller Williams, which I was currently at in the past, it just made more sense. eXp offers not just one form of income, which is commission, as your active income on a regular basis. You also have the opportunity to build some passive streams of income, including revenue share that goes 7 agent levels deep, which is the largest revenue share model of all of those that I'm aware of out there for brokerages. You also have the opportunity to get stock rewards in the eXp stock itself, and also have the opportunity to buy into it if you'd like. And also long-term, these more passive aspects to eXp are entirely willable. So when I stop my real estate career in 10, 20, 30 years from now, I can still have those stocks and revenue share be passed on to my family, my husband, my kids. Even if I were to pass away, it's still a willable asset that will continue to pay dividends to my family long after I've gone, as long as I take advantage of those opportunities, of course. So for someone who's building their business with a long-term mindset and thinking about their family, these aspects to the eXp financial model just made a lot more sense for me. Now I'll give you my honest opinion on the onboarding and the systems available in eXp. Truly, onboarding was actually very, very smooth. I had a couple active listings that I was very nervous about switching while I still had them under listing agreements, but it actually went very smoothly and didn't have any issue from Keller Williams or eXp during that process. It did take a little bit of getting used to when I had to switch over, to using SkySlope rather than the Keller Williams systems that they were using, but that's completely normal. Anytime you switch brokerages, there's likely going to be some changing in the back-end systems that you have to adjust to. Now I have a transaction coordinator that does all of my paperwork for me, so I don't even have to deal with the back-end systems at this time anymore, but it ends up being very user-friendly once you start playing around with it. Now at eXp, it is an entirely cloud-based brokerage. So that's the biggest difference. I work entirely from home in my home office. As you can see, I have my assistant with me 24/7. And that part I'm completely okay with. I love working from home. But there is, for new agents, a fast cap program that you can join. It's completely optional, but highly recommended for new agents to take advantage of. And fast cap for eXp, I will honestly tell you, I did not enjoy it. And I mean, there's a couple complaints I had with it. I think they could have been a lot more compact in their timeline. It takes, I think it's like 4 or 5 weeks long where you do an hour a day. I really think they could have compacted that a lot more. But also, I think it could still be valuable for brand new agents. I had already gone through Keller Williams Ignite training. And also, since I've been in the industry for a few years, going through brand new agent training can honestly just feel very repetitive. And I think that's ultimately why I didn't click with it, because it was just a little bit too basic. And I don't like saying that, but it was very, very basic when I'm trying to truly build out my full business systems, not just, get my first client. Other than that, I am a huge fan of the different systems that eXp has in place. There's a lot more online tools and online meetings that you can be a part of. One of my favorite tools is the eXp broker rooms and the broker hotline. So ultimately, we have access to speak to a Texas real estate broker 24/7. You can reach out to one via the hotline or go into the meeting room online. And within minutes, you can have virtually any question answered with confidence that it's coming from a broker and not just, any colleague. And I have found that this has made a huge difference in my business because I'm able to make decisions so much faster and make them with more confidence because I'm speaking directly to a broker. I think a lot of agents forget that they have access to that in eXp. So if you are an eXp agent and you're watching this, this is your reminder to utilize that tool because it is one of the most groundbreaking ones. When I was at Keller Williams, it was actually very challenging to get my questions answered promptly because on a team, a lot of people weren't available right away, and the team leaders were not always specialized in the residential deals that I was working on. So I'd have to call the one broker that manages all of Keller Williams agents in Austin, which is thousands of agents, and maybe I'd get a call back from her that day or the next day or the next day. I really prefer eXp's model to have multiple brokers on salary, just on call to answer your questions whenever needed. Now let's talk about income, and I will be completely transparent and share my numbers for 2025 as a whole, just so you can see what has changed. And I want you to understand, I moved to Austin at the end of 2024, and I did not start real estate in Austin until end of January 2025. So about 11 months in to today's date is when I was really full-time in Austin. Before that, I was a full-time agent in Houston, Texas. So I'm not a brand new real estate agent in Austin, but I was brand new to the Austin market this year. So I had to entirely just rebuild my business. In Q1, I was with Keller Williams and I made about $7,265. And I think actually most of that income was still from closings I had in Houston that just were closing out in the beginning of 2025. So it wasn't actually any Keller Williams income. In Q2, I was still at Keller Williams and I made $8,245, mostly from leases. And I think I had one closing in Q2 with a buyer. Then in Q3 is when I switched over to eXp for the first time, and I made $13,617, which is still very low. But again, remember, I'm building up my business from scratch in Austin. And here I am in Q4 where I've made a total of $73,763. So I'm so happy I'm finishing out the year with 6 figures in my first year in Austin, Texas. But you can clearly see there's a huge shift that happened halfway through the year when I made this switch over to eXp Realty. Now, I'm not going to give 100% of the credit to eXp or the Wolfpack because ultimately I'm the one who's done the work. All of my leads are self-generated from open houses and social media or referral based. So a lot of that comes from, so at the end of the day, I put in the work in order to, surpass that goal of hitting 6 figures in my first year here. However, I feel that there's been a difference in the behind the scenes in the last 6 months that are giving me the confidence to even make this video in the first place. One of the biggest things that have changed in the last 6 months is that I had the encouragement behind me to create my own brand, not just run my business behind a team's logo or a brokerage logo. I'm actually fully branded now. You can see across all of my social media channels, I have my own brand. And I think that through line really actually makes a difference coming off as a professional rather than just being an individual agent. I've also made social media a core pillar of my lead generation. Inside Wolfpack in particular, there is a heavy, heavy focus on utilizing social media and AI to maximize your business and create lead generation that attracts leads rather than chases leads, along with creating your own brand and systems and how to set all of this up from A to Z. I don't feel micromanaged because it's all up to me to utilize these trainings, but I also don't feel alone because in the Wolfpack, there are a ton of agents who run a social media focused real estate business and have maximized it and made a fantastic living off of it as well. It's a great feeling to be able to learn from other agents who are doing the cutting edge methods and being a more modern real estate agent, because I really see that's where the future is going for this industry as a whole. It doesn't mean that the traditional methods don't work. They absolutely still do. You can door knock, you can farm a neighborhood, you can cold call, and those methods still work, but it doesn't have to be an end all be all. Also, if you think about it this way, if you make a YouTube video that has 100 views, which some people feel like that's very, very little views, right? And yeah, it's little views in the comparison to thousands of videos out there that are getting viral clicks, right? But if you had an opportunity as a real estate agent to stand in a room full of 100 potential buyers, that would be insane. That would be an incredible opportunity as a real estate agent to have a room full of 100 people that you get to talk to. And that's what social media allows us to do. We get the opportunity to reach way, way, way more people than we ever could in a day's worth of door knocking or cold calling. The best part is, even after we've finished recording that video and have uploaded it to our YouTube channel, we get to go to sleep and people still have the opportunity to watch that video while we're sleeping or while we're working on another deal. I think when you look at running your real estate business from this perspective, it is a no-brainer that you must be doing these methods in 2026. So do I have any regrets about switching over to eXp instead of staying at Keller Williams? Because yeah, I could have done social media while I was at Keller Williams as well, right? But honestly, no, I don't have any regrets at all. But I will admit that there are some real challenges. The biggest one is probably having almost too much freedom. Of course, if you're a solo agent at a cloud brokerage, no one is holding you accountable. I have access to so much good trainings and incredible other agents in the Wolfpack Group, but they're not micromanaging me or holding my hand as I figure things out. It is still entirely up to me to make things happen. It's very easy to pivot super quickly, overthink the strategies, or not just follow the blueprint like everybody tells you to do. What I'm seeing is that the agents who are actually successful as solo agents are the ones that commit to consistent action and they just keep doing the reps. They're not trying to change the game or redo the blueprint every 15 minutes. They are just consistently chipping away and adding and adding and adding to their skill set and their content production and perfecting their business one little piece at a time. Sometimes I do wish I had switched over sooner and started at eXp earlier, but I might not have found the Wolfpack if I had done it any sooner. So I'm very glad that things happened the way that they did. I think everything does kind of happen for a reason. I feel more optimistic now in December than I did even in June and July when I first switched over to eXp. I'm so glad and thankful that I was able to surpass 6 figures in my first year here in the Austin market. And I feel so incredibly grateful to the family and my husband and new teammates here at eXp that have supported me throughout this transition. At the end of the day, you are the business. I am my own business, and the resources that your broker provides don't do the work for you. You ultimately have to be the one to take advantage of the opportunities. So if you are curious about eXp and the Wolfpack, or just want to talk through your options as a new agent looking to find the right brokerage, book a private call with me and I'd love to talk with you one-on-one. Thank you so much for watching this. I will see you in the next video.